What is good, everybody? Breakdown SHTV back at it again. I'm with my host Cameron and my man Alex. I'm Peyton. Today we're going to get into this or that, who you need to draft in your fantasy drafts. Starting us off, Alex, what do we got?
So we have Ezekiel, Elliott, RB20, Breece Hall, RB19. They're going right next to each other in drafts. Who are you guys wanting to draft in that situation?
I mean, as a Zeke owner last year, I was kind of disappointed in him, but he did finish as a RB7 in PPR formats, which hard to believe because, I mean, touchdowns kind of carried some of his weeks.
A little misleading.
Right. But Breece Hall might split a bunch of receptions and carries with Michael Carter this year, so I think Zeke has that backfield. Tony Pollard is a stat back. Zeke's the workhorse now.
I agree. I'm gonna lean towards Zeke in this. There has been reports that Carter was running with the ones during preseason, and Michael Carter's going he's irrelevant in fantasy, and Breece Hall's that back for New York. And
I mean, if I'm drafting Breece Hall, I'm drafting him if I'm going no RB, that's gonna be my RB2.
Well, I think I'm gonna take Breece Hall over Zeke just because bet on the talent and the prospect profile. He was one of the highest grade running backs coming out of college since Saquon, McCaffrey. So I'm gonna go Breece Hall.
I think the Zach Wilson injury definitely hurts him.
But it's only 2 to 4 weeks though. So.
Right, but still.
Yeah,
I mean,
the offense is not gonna be as good.
4 weeks. Let's say max 4 weeks. He's in. That offense is probably going to be one of the worst in the league.
Yeah.
I think Breece Hall is the exact same as Javonte Williams. It's just they're both very talented running backs, but
the situation.
I mean, for fantasy, I don't care how good you are. It's all about production in fantasy. So
right.
We'll just see how that
Moving on to the next scenario, you have Michael Pittman as the wide receiver 13, A.J. Brown as the wide receiver 14. Another pair of guys going back to back.
Yeah. No. One thing I feel like A.J. Brown's gonna shock a lot of people. I feel like so many people they've already written him out. They're like, oh, this run first offense, Jalen Hurts is inaccurate, blah blah blah. He's one of the best talents in the league, wide receiver wise, and I think they're gonna get the ball to him in space. He's gonna do what he does best, and that's yards after catch. And I think he's gonna have a great year. Maybe not as fantasy relevant as he was, I guess, his rookie year, or was it his second year? But I do think he's going to shock a lot of people. But I do think Pittman will produce more than him.
For sure. Yeah, I was going to say that.
All three of us are pretty high on Pittman.
I love Pittman this year, especially with the QB upgrade.
Huge QB upgrade.
And I mean, the only other competition for his touches is literally Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, nine.
Exactly.
Probably the 2 other weapons in that offense.
Who's the wide receiver?
Harris Campbell. I mean, there's not really any target comp there. And
I guess Nyheim Hines.
Matt Ryan has notoriously thrown to his wide receiver 1. I think the most out of any quarterbacks. Roddy White, even so. Yes. And then moving on to the quarterback position, these are 2 guys going back to back. Patrick Mahomes is the QB2, and then Justin Herbert is the QB3.
Ooh. Oh, man.
I know my guy. I know. I'm not overthinking it.
I'm not overthinking. I think it's Mahomes.
I think it's Mahomes too. I think Mahomes is. Mahomes had a couple bad games last year, and I think he still finishes as a top 5 QB.
See, I think there's so much. I mean, obviously Kelsey's still there, but I mean, the big play factor is so humongous for the Chargers this year. I think I think Mike Williams is going to go nuclear this year. I think he's going to be one of the best. He is one of the best deep ball guys already. Guyton's been burning people in practice. I mean, Keenan Allen's obviously a
Josh
monster.
Herbert has stepped up into that wide receiver.
Not to mention,
Eckler catches pass off the backfield. I think Herbert is not a no-brainer over Mahomes, but if you're drafting purely on upside, if you want to win in leagues, I think Herbert's your guy to go. Mahomes obviously is going to be steady. But I think Herbert is going to have some humongous weeks, could win you some matchups.
Right. I think it's a situation if you get either quarterback, you're gonna be chilling. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't overdraft those 2 guys.
Right.
I think there's plenty of talent in the back ends of drafts.
I think I'd rather wait a little bit and take a Lamar or a Kyler just for the.
I've never been a guy that takes quarterbacks early. I just don't think there's a point because there's
so
a stat. It's quarterback 3 to like quarterback 10s all decided within like 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
So it's like
if you're not getting like a top
right
1-2 guy,
if you have
it's
like
really
the
not
decision
worth
to
it.
take like a wide receiver 2 or like a high wide receiver or a high flex, I'd probably take the flex or the wide receiver instead of the quarterback and then wait.
It's honestly Allen and then like kind of like not the rest of them.
A big
but
I know what you're talking about.
Allen is
No,
like the
he's
clear
an
cut number
undoubted
one.
QB1.
Right.
Yeah, he's going like I want to say like 10 spots higher than any other quarterback.
Yeah.
So
Also, okay, so for mine, I have kind of, I think people would say this is an easy one, but at the 1-2 turn, Tay or Deebo Samuel. I think this
I don't
is
think
kind of,
that's the easy one.
I like Devontae Adams just because I just don't know if I'm confident in the role that Deebo's going to have because I feel like it's going to be uncertain. There's a new quarterback coming in. We don't know if he wants to rush the ball, if he doesn't want to rush the ball. He got paid like a wide receiver would. He's obviously going to have a big role, but his efficiency was off the charts last year, and I don't know if he can keep that up. And I feel like Devontae, you know what you're getting. You know that he's going to dominate the target share. He's going to have a 28-30% target share. I mean, he's the wide receiver 1, and he's more of that alpha X build rather than Deebo. He's more of a playmaker, he's more of like a weapon, as I like to say. Devontae, you throw the ball towards Devontae. Deebo, you're trying to make stuff happen for him, jet sweeps.
space.
He's not just a guy you're going to throw one-on-one routes to.
That's
all
why
day.
I absolutely love Deebo.
Yeah, because they're gonna you say the quarterback change, but like the same thing happened with Tay. Like I want to say all of his production, but a lot of his production came from playing with the back-to-back MVP, and I guess downgrading. Hall of Famer. No, downgrading to Derek Carr, and not to mention Renfro, Waller. Those are 2 guys who are elite at their position, and they will grab targets. You saw what Derwin.
I saw Derwin James talking about. I saw Derwin James talking about Renfro is like.
I don't know if I think I'm worried about Renfro taking away targets from Devontae Adams.
I 100% am because that was Derek Carr's go-to in the red zone too. We have to forget about that.
But yeah,
Or
nobody
don't
else
forget
was
about
healthy.
Waller also eats receptions in
Waller,
red zone too.
yeah, for the first week Waller had 19 targets last year. That's not something to write off.
It's still Devontae Adams.
See, right.
I think at like, I feel
13,
people
14.
are really low on Deebo. I feel I do a bunch of mock drafts and I see Deebo falling to like high teens, and then Tay's going like 11, 12, like 13. I'd rather take Deebo at the 19 than Tay.
Of either of those guys in the early second.
I
feel like there's a lot of other options I'd rather go with.
I love Deebo because Deebo, he's gonna get the ball no matter what. Like Shanahan
That's
is
true, yeah.
he is
the best playmaker.
That was my exact point. Like Deebo's gonna Shanahan, that's what I'm saying.
You're right.
I know the new quarterback's coming in, but that's exactly why Deebo's gonna go off because they're gonna rely on him. They're gonna rely on Kittle. They're gonna rely on their weapons that they've used for a while. Because it's not like Jimmy G was some great quarterback. Like he was a decent quarterback. But Trey Lance just adds that rushing upside.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's just what it is.
So Paige, are you going Deebo?
I'm going Deebo personally over Tay.
I'd probably go Deebo as well.
And then for my next one, I have Javonte or Saquon Barkley.
I'm going Saquon Barkley.
This is no brainer for me.
Upside wins leagues. I don't really understand what's going on with the Broncos because Melvin Gordon said Javonte is going to be the guy, and I don't understand him signing back for Javonte to be the guy, and I don't understand how he wouldn't have a role, especially because NFL teams, they don't care about fantasy, so they don't care about giving a guy 100% of the snap share when you have a guy like Melvin Gordon who can take 25 to 40% of the carries, and he's still a good running back. And Saquon, there's a good chance that offense sucks, and Saquon is just like an RB20, RB25, but guess what? There's also a chance that Saquon goes back to Saquon. He's a top 5 RB and he's a league winner. So upside wins leagues.
I would take Saquon 100%. You saw what he did his rookie year, finishing as the running back 1, and with upgraded at the offensive line, new head coach. Upgraded.
Anything was better than what they had last year.
They drafted Evan Neal, who's already an upgrade.
He's getting killed in the preseason.
It's preseason, no worries. It wasn't better than who they had over there.
And not to mention Saquon's
2 years from the ACL.
A top 3 receiving back in the league. They line him up in the slot. They get him the ball. I think upside purely.
I think it's Saquon, no doubt.
I think the only thing holding him back is injury risk.
Injury
honestly.
and the lack of quarterback play and offensive efficiency.
I really don't even. Whenever he was the RB1, that was the worst Giants team. One of the worst Giants teams.
I don't see how any of y'all's discussion is upside, because the guy with one of the highest upsides is Javonte Williams.
No, because his upside is capped by having Melvin Gordon in the back.
If Melvin Gordon is literally going out there saying that he's getting less.
Melvin Gordon's going to have work. He's
Yeah,
going to get work.
Just because Javonte's the number one, he's
same with why are we drafting Aaron Jones in the second round? AJ Dillon's right there. It's going to cap his workload. You're just going to get touches.
Aaron Jones isn't getting drafted in the second round. He's been falling in drafts.
Just late second.
Late second. He's late second.
I'm not dropping him in the late
I'd
second.
have Saquon than Aaron Jones.
I would have Saquon than Aaron Jones too.
Wow.
I mean, Saquon's going to be. There's nobody else in the Giants' backfield. There's nobody.
Hey, Saquon's not competing for anything. Not competing for targets, not competing for rushes, not competing for snaps. That's all his. It's all given to him, and he's the most talented running back in the league when healthy. He's healthy.
the best weapon on the Broncos or the Giants' offense,
right,
by far.
And it's not even close.
Also, Russell Wilson has never had like a top tier. I don't think he's ever played with a running back.
I guess
finished as a top fantasy running back.
Chris Carson.
That's true.
Towards the end of his career.
But Chris Carson never finished as like a top.
Chris Carson. I mean, he got hurt a few times, but I mean, Chris Carson was
a few times. That's understandable.
Yeah, but I mean, a guy like Javonte Williams. I mean, talking about upside.
I think it's close, but I'd take Saquon for sure.
All right, and then I'll go right into mine. I have Mixon at RB8 and Swift at RB9.
Mixon, 100%. No doubt for me.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think
Mixon's a first round pick.
Upgraded O-line. I think Swift. I think Jamal Williams will get carries. I think they have actually a sneaky good wide receiver corps when Jameson Williams comes back, DJ Chark, Hawkinson, Amon-Ra.
Right.
I think Swift's going to be solid. I think he's going to give you at least 14 points a game, but I'm looking at Mixon in that good offense with an upgraded offensive line. I think he's going to get a ton of opportunities, especially in the red zone. And Swift,
yeah.
I also worry about the offense.
You just look at those boom weeks for Mixon. Mixon would go for 35 last year.
I don't know if I see Swift getting the touches to go for 35.
Exactly. Mixon is that at the goal line they're handing him to
and he's not going to get a lot of passing work, but you're counting on that offense to keep moving them down the field. Yeah, literally. You're counting on him to score, I don't know, a touchdown a game, rush for at least 80 yards, catch a couple passes. So I think Mixon for sure.
I agree. Yeah, I also have Mixon, and then my last one is Juju at wide receiver 32 and Thielen at wide receiver 33.
I love both of those guys.
Both of those guys I feel like have wide receiver one potential.
Keep talking about upside. I think I'm gonna have to go with Juju, just because Juju doesn't have Justin Jefferson in his offense. As good as I think Adam Thielen is at scoring touchdowns, and as good as he is in the red zone, I think the upside with Juju is Patrick Mahomes, wide receiver one.
One thing I go to is you look at Juju and you look at Thielen, and Juju's the center, or I guess not the center, but he's the center of the wide receiving core.
Wide receiver core, yeah.
Right, and then Thielen has the best wide receiver in the league next to him.
Also,
and then not to mention Mahomes.
Yeah.
And then
you heard
Kirk Cousins.
Best wide receiver in the league?
Jay does? Yeah.
Yeah, Jay does.
Best wide receiver in the league. And then
over 10?
That's a discussion for another time. But also the Vikings do have Dalvin Cook too, so they're also going to have a much better running game. And you can argue that the options in that passing offense, or the Vikings offense goes, Jet is Dalvin Cook, whereas Chiefs it's probably Kelsey
and
Juju.
Juju does have a history of producing as the wide receiver 2 in his offense when he averaged 18.6 points per game.
Juju had he was a top 10 wide receiver when he was 19 years old, right? So
right.
let's not forget that at one time Juju was.
He was wide receiver 9 playing behind AB.
And he was supposed to be the next big thing at wide receiver. So you can't forget about that because he had an absolutely amazing year that year.
I have another one. I have another mid-round guy. Amon-Ra versus Chris Godwin.
Godwin 100%. No doubt.
Wow.
Godwin, no doubt. I don't.
I wouldn't say it's.
I'm low on Amon-Ra. Swift's coming back. Hawkinson coming back. Add DJ Chark, Jameson Williams. I don't see how Amon-Ra's going to.
But you were just talking about you're not high on Swift because of Amon-Ra.
No, I'm not high on Swift because I feel like they're going to spread the ball around a lot. and I feel like Swift is just not going to get the big workload. But
Never
Amon,
how it works.
well, okay, look at Amon-Ra's weeks last year. Who else was healthy on the Lions to catch passes? Josh Reynolds. I mean, they're not. Amon-Ra's not even going to be the main focal point. It's going to be Swift and Hawkinson. Amon-Ra's he's going to get his targets, but he's not going to. Compared to a guy,
I think Amon-Ra's
he's a wide receiver
one in
on
that
the
offense.
team, yeah.
Ahead of Hawkinson.
okay, but he's a wide receiver 1 on the Lions team with good weapons around him.
I mean, they're going to be behind. They're going to have
I
to
don't
throw
think
a
he's
lot.
going. I don't think he's going to get the amount of work that he was getting last year, the amount of targets, just because there's people coming back. They added more receivers.
I mean, I'm saying you could use that same exact thing for Godwin.
But we've seen Godwin do it for years now.
I mean, Godwin
Godwin has it under his belt. He's also playing with Tom Brady. I mean,
Right.
I think, obviously, I think if you draft Godwin, you have to understand that you're going to probably eat the first 4 to 6 weeks because that's probably how long it's going to take him to get back to full speed. But I mean, Godwin was a wide receiver 1 last year when he was healthy.
Right.
I mean, it's just the thing. Like, you can use that against Amon-Ra. Like, people who were unhealthy, but like that could also be used as like, okay, he might break out next year. Like, the wide receivers that break out are year 2 wide receivers.
Exactly.
I think he already had his breakout last year, though.
I mean, you can't say that because it was like a 5-game stretch.
But
that's
I'm
not someone
saying
to break out.
with nobody else around him, there was no other place to go.
I mean, he was targeted four
But
times in the first drive.
underneath routes. They were down every game, throwing underneath routes. They're going to let you do that.
So what tells you they're not going to be down every game now?
Well, there's more options to go to. There's Swift healthy. There's Hawkinson healthy. They have DJ Chark.
Well, if we're being
Jameson
realistic,
Williams.
the Lions are not winning games, and the
I mean,
Lions will be
that's-
throwing.
We're throwing a bunch.
That's fair, but there's a lot more people to throw to now. There's a lot more targets.
I
to
don't
spread
think
around-
DJ
spread around.
Chark comes in and takes that many targets away from Amon-Ra.
I think Hawkinson will.
Yeah, but Hawkinson was on and off last year, and Amon-Ra was still.
Hawkinson was hurt for a lot of the year
Hawkinson
last year.
didn't take a lot of targets.
When Amon-Ra was breaking out and Hawkinson was hurt.
When Hawkinson was healthy, he's receiving like 6 to 8 targets a game.
That's not bad.
That's not like a
very
humongous amount of targets. That's gonna be like, oh.
That's pretty decent. That's a pretty decent amount of targets. I mean, I'm just saying. I think if you're choosing between Amon-Ra and Godwin has the. I think once
Well,
he's
what about,
healthy,
like,
he's safer.
Saying Godwin, you're eating Godwin's 4 to 6 weeks.
I think you eat the 4 to 6 weeks and you use the wide receiver production after he's healthy.
Hey man, if you're.
I don't know, I feel like-
if your league is having an awful punishment, I wouldn't take Godwin.
I don't know. I feel like Godwin's, even though he's missing, I guess 4 to 6 weeks, I think he's safer than Amon-Ra.
I'd take Godwin too, but I'm just making my case for Amon-Ra.
But-
yeah.
Yeah, the Bucs offensive line is a little sketchy now with a lot of injuries. They probably won't be as run efficient with Gronk out too, and Evans is gonna eat targets. Fournette's gonna eat a lot of targets, and
There's a lot of weapons on offense.
we'll see how Godwin shapes out. But is it 4 to 6 weeks?
Well, I think I'm not saying I don't think he's out for the first 4
He's
to 6
healthy.
weeks.
He's healthy.
But I'm saying I'm expecting it to take time for him to get back to
Steadily.
full speed because I don't think when he comes back he might be on like a route, snap count, something like that. So I don't think he's going to be fully healthy until week 4, week 6.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's usually the timeline.
It's 100% Godwin has a higher upside. He finished as a wide receiver too a couple years back with Jameis.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
don't get me wrong. Like Godwin, if Godwin's healthy, like he's probably a late 3rd, early 4th round
Exactly.
pick.
Yeah.
I mean, like Godwin always has a higher upside. It's just you're banking on him getting back to healthy, and I mean, it's just not the smartest thing in fantasy. Like me, I drafted Michael Thomas thinking he's going to be healthy. He's out the first 6 weeks of the year, my
Yeah.
first round pick. So it's like
you can't predict injuries. That's just how it is.
no.
That's why Jonathan Taylor should be the first pick.
And McCaffrey should be like 4. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the Breakdown Podcast. Tune into our
TikTok.
Spotify,
Apple Music,
Instagram, YouTube.
all of the
obviously.
above. TikTok is
Everything.
blowing up right now with all this fancy stuff going on. So if you enjoy watching, leave a like, subscribe.
And comment if you have more of these questions.
We are pumping out TikToks daily.
And if you
Make sure to
want
check that out.
to get your team
Fantasy
rated by
team.
us, don't hesitate to
DM.
submit it in.
DM us on Instagram.
All right, merch coming soon. Appreciate it. See y'all.
See y'all.